The majority of interviews that you experience over the course of your career, you are definitely going to be faced with the question, tell me about yourself. And it's seemingly one of the most easiest questions that is asked in your entire interview process. But let me tell you, when you haven't prepared and you feel caught off guard, it can be one of the most challenging ones. And so what often happens in the interview is the interviewee starts to question, what are they actually asking me? Are they asking me to tell them about my career, about my family, my friends, my hobbies? What do they actually want to know? So in this video today, I'm going to share with you the best way that you can answer this question, tell me about yourself. We're going to focus on answering it from the professional lens. So speaking about your career, and I'm going to share with you on the interview's method for how to answer it so that you feel confident and that you answer their question the most powerful way that you possibly could. And so now you might be asking, who are you and why are you qualified to tell me about this? So I'm Jenna. I'm an interview prep and career coach. I have an HR designation, so in human resources, and I've been leading people for over 12 years. So I know a few things about interviewing and about leading people and what I expect to hear from people throughout the interview process. So today, we're going to cover that tell me about yourself question. And before we get going, don't forget to hit like if you find this video helpful and subscribe to this channel for future videos that are going to support you with your interview prep and career advice. Ready to get started? Let's dive in first with an example of how I would respond to this question, and then we'll break it down from there and again, share it on the interview's method for how to answer the question. Here we go. I started my professional career leading a group of volunteers during the Olympics, and what this taught me was, how do I lead, motivate, encourage, and inspire people to get a job done, to work towards a common goal that aren't receiving a paycheck? And so when I think about volunteers are working at the organization because they're connected to the mission, or there's something within them intrinsically that's motivating them. And so as a leader, it's my responsibility to tap into that intrinsic motivator and inspire them to work towards that common goal and to come together as a team and to feel valued, appreciated, and motivated to do the work. And I would say this is the catalyst for how I lead people today. I've been able to take on the opportunity to lead groups of teams within the retail environment. I then had an opportunity to be a trainer. So I was in the field, I was on the ground, I was supporting leaders with their training plans and both doing technical training as well as leadership training modules within those teams. And then I realized the thing that I loved the most was that one-on-one coaching, that mentorship, and really getting to connect with other leaders. And so that inspired me to start looking for a role that was really specialized within human resources. I took my exam to get my CPHR designation, and I'm taking courses right now to get my HR certificate. And I'm in a position where I'm a director of human resources, leading a team through all the human resource matters that you can imagine, from recruiting and training and, the unfortunate part, letting people go, as well as just the people experience in general at the organization. And the reason why I've applied for this role is I see myself continuing to foster that leadership strength of mine and to support other leaders in developing their skill of leadership, to continue supporting the people experience, to have that ability to be responsible for the higher strategy of the organization in terms of making money in the business, but then to ensure that the people experience is right up there and just as important, because what I know is that we see results through people. And if our people aren't happy, then our customers aren't going to be happy. So how do we ensure that that people experience is always top of mind, is always at the forefront? And that is what's going to support us in being successful. And for this specific position, I believe that the experiences that I've had over the years, from leading volunteers to supporting with training to then taking on a specific HR role, I believe that these experiences are really going to support me in adding a lot of value to the department and to the organization in achieving what we need to over the next few years. Let's kick off why this question's asked. So this question's asked for, in my opinion, 3 different reasons. The first is simply to kickstart the meeting, to get things going, to support you in feeling comfortable as an interviewee, and for the interviewer also to get into their groove of asking questions. It's simply that. The second reason is to learn about you from a high-level perspective on your career. So 9 times out of 10, maybe even more, let's say 99% of the time, this question in a job interview setting is being asked to learn about you professionally, not about your personal life. So if the interviewer wants to know about who you are, what hobbies you like to take in after work, they'll ask follow-up questions. So be confident in responding to this question by talking about your professional career and giving that high-level overview of where you've been and where you're going. Lastly, the question's asked to start to define what it might be that's about you working at the organization that's going to add value. So how are you going to bring value into the organization? It's giving that little sneak peek of what that might be for the interviewer to start to understand, and it might end up guiding other questions that they ask later in the interview. Own the Interview's method for responding with this question is to talk about the past, the present, and the future. That's it, keeping it really simple. So if you scroll back and listen to what I shared when I was responding hypothetically to this question, I began by talking about how it all began, how it started. I was talking about the past. Then I brought it into the present. I talked about the role that I was doing now and some of the things that I was doing presently to support my goals that I had and who I was professionally. Remember, I talked about the courses that I was taking and that I had just earned my HR designation. And then I moved things into the future. I talked about the goals that I had, how I was continuing to want a position where I was going to support and mentor leaders, how I wanted to be in a position where I was taking on a role within HR still. And then last but not least, as part of that future piece, I talked about how I was going to be a contribution to this specific role based on the experiences that I've had in the past, presently, and who I want to be in the future. Let's take it back to the beginning. I had mentioned that this question is seemingly simple but can be challenging when you haven't prepared in advance. And I hope that this video is going to support you with exactly that, preparing in advance so that you feel powerful and confident and at ease when you're answering this question in your next upcoming interview. And so to support you even further, I've created a free resource. It's a fill-in-the-blank document. I've put the link in the notes below, and you can download that, fill in the blanks, use this video, pair them up together, and then practice. Practice out loud, practice with a friend, practice in the mirror, and just get those nerves out there and let that flow answering this question come with ease. And so that when you're in your next interview, you feel confident and you're responding powerfully. If this video and content has been helpful, like the video below, subscribe to this channel for future career tips and interview prep advice. And if you have a comment or a question to be asked, don't be afraid to put it below. I am more than happy to answer it, and I will, as soon as I see it, respond to you. I wish you all the best with your interview preparation, and I look forward to helping you next time. Take care for now.